Yo guys, what is up? It's Teach here, coming at you again with another video over on Ark Survival Ascended, and I wanted to show you some really awesome stuff. So basically, there was a whole bunch of awesome added things to the game, including the Embryo Incubator. This thing is absolutely amazing because it's going to make your breeding life inside of Ark Survival Ascended so much easier. Now, why do I say that, right? Because one of the biggest pains in the butts is actually raising things that are pregnancy. The reason that it's such a pain in the butt in order to raise things that have a pregnancy instead of just an egg is an egg can be picked up by an oviraptor, whereas pregnant creatures can't really have any of that, which is, you know, really not a fun thing. So we can essentially use this item that I just showed you a second ago in order to basically remove that whole problem, which is super nice because you can store the embryos inside of the embryo incubator and then hatch them when you're ready to hatch them, just like you would an egg. Instead of having to like wait for like the 6-hour timer or whatever it takes to hatch an egg, see how it's like going through the mating process right now, I can essentially extract the embryo and place it inside of the embryo incubator, and it will do all of the hard work for me, and then I just have to click on hatch embryo, which is one of the most awesome things that Ark has added in a very, very, very long time. And all you need in order to do that is a embryo incubator, and you will also need the thing I have in my hand, which is the gene scanner. Now, it is a very useful thing, and I'll explain it in like 2 seconds for you so you can understand what I'm talking about. So you just saw that these guys have incubated, and it's got, I mean, it's so awesome. So anyways, what you need to do, hold E on your incubator and you'll see gestation monitoring. It'll do gestation monitoring for 60 minutes. You can send a pulse out, and anything that has bred recently, it will now bring up a radial menu above you, just so you can see it. There's one at 10% there, and it's going to tell you exactly the stats of it. Now, what you can do once you have that is you have your gene scanner, right? Now, what you can do, go up to this tame that has the thing, stab it with left click, and then extract the embryo. Now you'll see that I've got an embryo that I've extracted. I can also, I'll wait till those guys are done. And then you can place that embryo inside of your embryo extractor. Now, see how it says, it'll tell you exactly everything about it, right? So that's pretty freaking cool. So you have the option to destroy the embryo. You have the option to hatch the embryo. You saw the stats before putting it in there, so you won't be able to see them afterwards. But it'll tell you everything about that embryo. So if it's not something that you want, let's say it's got bad stats, you can get rid of it before even having the effort of doing anything with it. Now, let me show you what I mean by that, because I know that's a confusing sentence. All right, so here we go. Perfect. So you can see all of the stats that this thing is going to hatch with, right? All of the individual point values too, which is pretty freaking cool. So let's say this is the perfect one. I'm going to go ahead and stab this thing, extract the embryo. It pulls the embryo out, and I can keep doing that for all of them. Extract embryo, extract embryo, extract embryo. Feels a little weird, but you know, extract embryo. So now that I've extracted all of those embryos, what I can do is, I'm just going to go ahead and hit shift, whatever it's called, shift all. But anyways, embryos. So you can see that it is actually increasing their incubation timers down to 0. And once it hits 0, I then just have to hit the hatch embryo once it's at 100%. And it will allow me to basically make pregnancy so much easier inside of this game. So you don't have to wait for like, what, 12 hours for some of the long pregnancy timers. It's going to save us so much trouble. So that's how the actual embryo incubator works. And that's how you use it with this gene gun, if you want to think of it that way. Now, some other things that you kind of want to be aware of when it comes to this is these things, there's only 10 slots, so you might have to build a few of them, which is pretty nice, in all honesty. It's a pretty valuable thing. And they will continue to breed over time, so you can just keep doing this as many times as you need to in order to raise these things. Now, I'll wait till it actually gets to the point where you can actually hatch an embryo, which is another 39, whatever it is. And it'll actually show you the process. Now, I don't think I have any more females that have an embryo available. Nope, I don't. But this is going to mean Thyla is going to make them so much easier to raise. Anything that's not an egg based, we can just toss it inside of this now. So like you just enable the mating. Once they've made it, go give them a little pokey. And once the pokey happens, you bring them over here, and all of a sudden, all of your it's so much easier. It's going to be so much better. I'm so stoked for this. I know it doesn't seem like much, but for people like me that tend to spend most of my time inside of the base, this is a huge, huge helping hand. Now, I'm only going to give it a few more seconds, right? Because got another 22 incubation. I'm just going to, well, let's just slow-mo time real quick. Slow-mo 1000. Slow-mo 1. There we go. That should be pretty close, right? All right, yeah. So now that it's at embryo health is 100% in embryo incubation, I can go ahead and hatch the embryo. And you'll see that it pops it out right in front, right here. And we can go ahead and imprint it. And that is as easy as that. It'll store them infinitely in there, by the way. So it'll bring them all the way up. So now that I can just sit here and wait, I don't have to, but I could. And it makes things so much easier and just a better overall experience in Ark. So yeah, definitely something you can capitalize on. Things that I can see this being useful for is you're going to need like probably one embryo incubator per type of dino. And that's going to make a big difference for you. So keep that in mind. And the more you have, I mean, it doesn't seem like there's a limit. There's no cooldown timer for it. But it is going to be a big game changer. So yeah. But again, so one more quick thing that people probably glossed over for a second there. Once you have all of these things in there, it's nice to have them. But in my opinion, it's even better that I can go ahead and see the actual incubated stats once it's incubated. So let's go ahead and go over here. You can see the actual stats, right? Now that's huge. So if I wanted to, you can go into the gestation monitoring. I can hide the stats or I can reset gestation. Now that's pretty neat. So if I go in there, it'll basically just get rid of that. It's just like a termination thing. And it prevents, so if you don't like the stats, just restart from square one and wait for it to mate again. Pretty freaking cool, man. And again, here you go again. You can see 96, there's all the stats. If I don't like it, I can click on or hold E on the maternal and then reset gestation. Now, obviously that's going to prevent it from being taken care of that way. But if I like the stats on it, right? So I just have to go to, oh, it's in the mating process. In the mating process, there we go. There's the color that it's going to get out of it, and there's all the stats. That's a really good health stat. I want the health stat. So I'm going to go ahead and extract that embryo. I'm going to go ahead and bring the embryo over to my thing so I make sure that I have it, and it's just going to begin that actual process. Now it'll have, once it's ready to go, you'll see that it has these like arrows on it. Those arrows essentially indicate to us that we can hatch the embryo. So you can just click on it, hatch embryo, and it'll pop out that embryo in the exact same location that we had it before. So this makes breeding so freaking good, man. I love it. This is a huge addition to the game, and yeah, just being able to see the stats alone would be worth it, but to also have the ability to not have to wait, and you can just like pull out the embryo real quick and then have it ready for later. That's a huge change. I have to say bravo to Ark for that one, because that's going to make a big difference, and it's going to make me super happy because I can just pull the embryos that I want, so I don't have to do the whole wasted breeding process and spend hours of time taking care of that. So huge Ark. Nice job. Can't complain. And then, oh, I didn't even realize that. You can actually look at the individual stats of the embryos by going into these things. Oh man, that's kind of cool. So if you hover over the actual embryo container, it'll tell you exactly what they are in there. It'll tell you the number of mutations. It'll tell you the incubation health, the boost. Oh man, that's really cool. It gives you a boost as well. I didn't know that. Oh, that's really cool. So there's all the stats that you need. So when you put it inside of the actual embryo incubator, it's going to give you all of that. Oh man, that is so cool. Yeah, I just found that out. So hopefully this is something that helps you out, because I didn't even know you could do that. That's really cool. As I'm making the video, I find that out. And obviously you can see those are empty and this one should be full. Yep. Wow, that is awesome. It gives you the genes, gives you the stats, the health, the incubation boost. Man, that is really freaking cool. So anyways, hopefully this video helps you out. And if you don't mind, smash that like button, leave a comment below for the algorithm, and then consider subbing to the channel. All right, teach.